Hello everyone, welcome back to my channel. In this video, we will be learning about sorting an array element in an ascending order. So let's start. Sorting of array elements. What is meant by sorting? Sorting means arranging element in a systematic order. It may be in ascending order or descending order. The different types of logic used to sort the array elements are bubble sort, selection sort, merge sort, quick sort, insertion sort, etc. So in this video, we will take bubble sort and we will see how does the bubble sort algorithm is, and we will implement it in a Keil software using assembly language program which is suitable for ARM7. Bubble sorting. So let's take an example. We are sorting an array in an ascending order. The input array is -2, 45, 0, 11 and -9. After sorting, we should get an array like this: -9, -2, 0, 11, 45. The number of elements here is equal to 5. This is the logic behind the bubble sort. This is the key to remember. We compare two numbers. If first number is greater than the second number, we will swap it. Means we will exchange them. Let us now take the first pass or first iteration. Iteration is nothing but doing the single process again and again. In first pass you can see we have taken the array which is given to us, that is -2, 45, 0 over here, and this j is the pointer which points to the first element, and j plus 1 is the pointer which points to the second element. Okay, we compare these two elements. Based on this logic, we compare the first two elements. Is first number greater than the second number? No, so we don't swap it. Here we have completed our first comparison. So I have wrote here first comparison. In the next step, we will shift the j pointer to 45. Our j pointer is now pointing to the second element, and it is compared with the next element. Here you can see 45 is greater than 0. So according to the logic, we are going to swap this. Here we complete the second comparison. So we have swapped 45 with 0 and we got this array. Our j is again incremented and it is now pointing to third element, which again is the 45, and j plus 1 is pointing to 11. Now you can see the first element is greater than the second element, then again we will swap it. After swapping, we get this array. Again j is incremented and now j is pointing to fourth element. So we compare 45 and -9. 45 is greater than -9, so again we swap it. Here the fourth comparison happens. So this is the array after the first pass. Means j once starting from the first element is iterated till the last element. Means it is passed till the last element. Here it completes our first pass, first iteration. In first iteration, you can see we have done n minus 1 comparison. Means our n is 5 and we have done 4 comparisons in the first pass. Keep a track on this. We will come to it later. Now we will go to second pass. In the second pass, we will be having the modified array, that is -2, 0, 11, -9 and 45. Here again the same thing happens as above. First j is pointing to first element and j plus 1 is pointing to second element. Now there will be comparison between -2 and 0. Is -2 greater than 0? No, swapping does not take place. Here we complete our first comparison. Now j is incremented and it will point to the second element, and j plus 1 is pointing to third element. You can observe in the first pass that the highest valued element means the greatest element has occupied its correct position, that is the last. 45 is the greatest among all the array elements and it has occupied its last position correctly. Here you can see 0 is not greater than 11, so it will remain in its place. And here we complete second comparison. J is incremented and now we will compare 11 and 9. 11 is greater than minus 9, so we will swap it. So after swapping we get this array, and it is not necessary from here to increment j and compare with next element, because when we apply this logic our greatest element will be occupied its correct position in the first pass, and the next greatest element will occupy its correct position in the second pass. That you can see over here, 11 is occupied its correct position, so we have two elements occupying its correct position with three comparisons. So here number of comparisons is n minus 2. So this completes our second pass. Now we will go to our third pass. In the third pass we will be having our new array, that is minus 2, 0, minus 9, 11 and 45. Here again the same thing happens. J will be pointing to the first element and j plus 1 will be pointing to the second element, and the comparison happens. This is first comparison. Since the first element is not greater than the second element, that is minus 2 is not greater than 0, we will not swap it. We will leave as it is and we will increment the j. Now our j is pointing to the second element and 0 is greater than minus 9. So we have to swap this. So we will swap 0 and minus 9. Here in third pass you can see that our third element has occupied its correct position, that is 0. So in third pass we will be having n minus 3 comparison. Now we will move to pass 4. We will write the updated array minus 2, minus 9, 0, 11, 45. This is our first comparison in fourth pass. Since minus 2 is greater than minus 9, we will swap them. So we get this array at the end of fourth pass. And From here it is not necessary to increment j value and check with the next element. If we increment j value, we should check with -2 and 0. But I have said to you that after every pass we will get an element which occupies its correct position. In first pass you can see 45 occupies its correct position, and in second pass 11 and 45, in third pass 0, 11 and 45. So it is not necessary to compare these three elements in the fourth pass. So we compare only these two, and we have done the swap operation on this. After the completion of fourth pass, we get the required array, that is the output array. Here you can see that output array is -9, -2, 0, 11 and 45. We got it over here. In the fourth pass, we have only one comparison, that is n minus 4 comparison. On giving a closer look, you can observe that if we have n elements, we will be having n minus 1 pass. That is, here we have 5 elements and we have 4 pass. And again, in every pass, we subtract the pass number with the number of elements. That is, in first pass, we have subtracted 1 from total number of elements and we got 4 comparison. In the second pass, you can see we have subtracted 2. Second pass, subtraction of 2 from n, and we have 3 comparisons to make. In third pass, we have subtracted 3 and we have 2 comparison to make. Similarly, in fourth pass, we have 1 comparison to make. After this, we get an output array. So this is applicable for any array. This kind of a logic is called as a bubble sorting. We go on comparing the elements, taking the first element and incrementing the pointer, that is j. So if we write the C code for this, that is in the C language, we get something like this. Here you can see we have 2 for loops. So let me explain this one. Here I indicates this is for number of passes. In first pass, we will be having 5 minus I, that is pass number subtraction, minus 1. I have told it over here. In the first pass, we subtract 1 from n. So I am doing it here. 1 from n. This is less than or equal to. Okay. This is 4 now. We have 1 to 4. Means we will have 4 comparisons. That is j is compared with its next element, and if it is greater, it is going to be swapped, and j is again incremented. That is over here. J is compared with next element. If it is greater, it is going to be swapped, and then j is incremented. That is given over here. This tells us about the comparison. In first pass, we subtract the number of pass from 5, we get 4. In the second pass, I becomes 2 and we will subtract 2 from 5, that is 3. In second pass, you can see we have 3 comparison. So we make 3 comparisons, and if element is greater, we are going to swap it. So this is how the C code looks. You can pause the video over here. You can analyze this one if you want. So from here, I am going to move to programming in assembly language for ARM7 using Keil software. If you did not understand this one, you can look for it again by looking the video once again. So I am now going to program an ALP. Here I am going to open Keil software. I will write the necessary syntax required for ARM7. So now I am going to write the instruction move R8, comma, hash n. N is number of elements in the array. I will write the comment over here. R8 is now holding n, that is the number of elements in an array. I will take another register R9 and I will store here number of passes, that is hash n minus 1. I will write down the comment number of passes, and I will take the another copy of this one in one more register, that is move R10 comma R9. So R10 acts as a number of comparison for each passes. Now I am going to take another register, that is R7, and I will pass here the address of array which is declared in code area. Okay, so I will name it as C value. So I will declare this array in the further program. I will take one more register R0 and I will pass here the address of another array whose name is D value, which is in the data area. So we do this because we can only write on the array in the data area. We cannot change anything which is in the code area. So we will take the address of here in R7 and address of array in the data area in R0. So now what I am going to do is I will make the copy of this array in this array, that is D value, copy of C value array in D value array, so that we can modify the array and arrange it in an ascending order. So I will write the further code. I will write the comment over here as address of first element of an array in the code area. Now I am going to just draw this line for the bifurcation and for the understanding, and here I will write the program for which I will copy the array of read only area to read write area. I have written that over here. Copy the array into read write part of the code by creating an array over there. So we declare this array in the further part of the program. So now I am going to write the code. So we need a loop. I will declare it as loop 0 and ldr r1 comma bracket r7 comma hash 4. So what will happen in this instruction is r1 is the register and r7 is the register having the address of array C value, and bracket indicates that the content of this array's first element will be passed to R1. When we write this one over here, so R7 will be having the address of array's first element. So when I copy the first element in R1, I will increment the R7 value, that is the address, to 4 byte. because in ARM7 the register maximum value is 4 byte. So after every 4 byte we get the address of the next element in the array. So now I have incremented this. So I got the first element in R1. Now I am going to store it in the read write part. So I will write store R1 in read write part, that is R0. R0 is having the address of D values first element. R1 is stored in the first element of D values array. I have told you in the previous videos that LDR it is from right to left, and for STR it is from left to right. So you have remembered that, right? So this is going to continue. Means LDR will take the value from R7 and STR will keep on storing it in R0 array. So till where it should be executed? Till it reaches the n. So here we will decrement, that is subtract R8 comma R8 by hash 1. Means R8 will be subtracted one time and is stored in R8. The syntax of this LDR you can look in the appendix which I have shared in the description. So I am going to subtract it and I will branch only when R8 is not equal to 0, that is N E, branch to loop 0. So this is the conditional branch. This may be the new for you. This branch with condition, the condition is applied to the previous instruction. NE means not equal to. So at the end of this video I will tell you other conditions for the branching. So you just remember this NE means not equal to. If R8 is not equal to 0, that is this instruction is applied to the previous instruction, and R8 is not equal to 0, then only it loops back to loop 0. After execution of this, we will be having the copy of an array in read write part. So I am going to comment this one. Next, what we are going to do is our R0 value will be incremented till the last number. So we should reassign R0 to the initial point of the array. So I am going to write that one over here. That is reset pointer of an array in read write part. So I have again written LDR R0 is equal to D value. The same thing which I have wrote here. For addresses it must be LDR. I forgot that one. It must be LDR. There is no syntax for move, like move the address to R0. There is only LDR instruction. You can check that in the appendix. So this one I have wrote it again because R0 at the end of this loop, R0 will be pointing to the last element in the D value array. So by doing this, I will now be pointing to the first element of D values array. From now onwards, our actual program starts. Let me save this one. I will save it as I have saved this. See that the color has been changed. So our logic, the true logic, that is the bubble sort, begins from here. I have shown you this one, that is the C program representation of bubble sort algorithm. It has two for loop, that is nested for loop. So this effect can be made in ELP by using loops. So I am going to show it in ELP. So we need two loop, that is the first one will be loop 1 and the second one will be loop 2, and it will be having its own branch B. Let it be B for time being, and it will loop back to 2, and the loop 1 will be having its own branch B, and it will loop back to 1. So this will give the nested for loop effect in ELP. That is, loop here till here, loop from here to here until the condition is satisfied, and then it will go to outside the loop and it will execute the other loop. So this one give the nested for loop effect in the ELP. In between this we will write our code. So first we will start in the inside loop, that is the comparison. I have shown it over here in the C code. This comparison, if condition comparison and swapping, okay, we will do it that one in the inside loop first. I will write LDR load R1 the content of first element, and then increment the address by 4, means get the first element of the array and store it in R1 and increment the address by 4 byte. I have the first element in R1 over here. If I show it over here in the first pass, that this one first element's address I have in R1 now. Now I want the second element's address also for comparison. So I will write it as LDR R2 comma in brackets R0. By this I get the second value also. Now I am going to write compare instruction, CMP. Compare R1 comma R2. Means it will compare. Compare is nothing but, I will write it in the comments over here, R1 minus R2, and store the result and affect the conditional flag accordingly. If it is 0, it will affect the 0 flag. If it is negative, it will affect the negative flag. From here we have two paths. That is, if R1 is greater than R2, we have to swap it. As told over here, if first number is greater than second, we will swap it. So we have two paths from here. If first number is greater than second, we should swap it, or if it is not greater, first number is not greater than second number, we should simply increment the j. That we have done over here. We just simply incremented the j. I am going to do it here by saying that branch, if it is less than or equal to, I will write flag over here as count, means it will go to another part of the code if the first one is less than. This is also the conditional execution. So this less than or equal to basically looks for 0 flag, that is z is equal to 1, and also sees for the negative flag n. So n is not equal to overflow. So basically it will branch if we have 0 or negative. So when we will be having 0, if R1 is same as R2, we will be having 0. If R1 is smaller than R2, we will be having negative. So at negative it will branch. This is the conditional code, less than or equal to. It will branch if R1 is less than or equal to R2. If it is not less than or equal to, which means the second condition, the second track, if R1 is greater than R2, we should swap them, right? So we will write the swapping over here. I will write store R1 comma R0, store R1 in R2's place. We have incremented over here. R0 is pointing to the second element. In second element's place, we are going to store the first element, that is R1, and then we will decrement the R0 value by -4. Now R0 is pointing to first element. When it is pointing to first element, we will store there the previous second element, which is in R2. After doing this one, we should restore the R0 value, that is, it should point to the second element or the next element. For that we will do add R0 comma #4. means now it will be pointing to second element. This was swapping algorithm. Okay, if swapping has not done, or after swapping, here comes our count flag. In count flag, we will simply subtract the R10 value. Here the R10 is number of comparison. So we will simply subtract the number of comparison over here. So we have subtracted number of comparison by 1. I have wrote it over here. Here again I will write compare R10 with 0. If R10 is 0, then don't go anywhere. Continue with program. If R10 is not equal to 0, it will loop back. It will loop back to loop 2, and again the next comparison starts. In the first iteration, R0 was pointing to second element, and again here the second and third element will be loaded and they are compared. If they are greater than they are swapped, and after swapping the count is decremented. If count is not equal to 0, again the loops start. This was our inner part. Now we will write the external for loop. If once the comparisons are over, I will reassign the value of R0 to the first element. I will show it over here. In the first pass, you can see that J was pointing to first element. After the end of the pass, J will be pointing to the last but one element. So I should reassign it to the first element in the second pass. So I have done it by putting J to the first by writing this line. LDR R0 comma equal to D value. After doing that one, we should decrement the number of passes. Right. We have here the number of passes. We should decrement that one. After coming over here, our first pass is completed. The codes come from 21 line, 27th line, and all the actions happens here. After action is happened, our pass should be decremented. So we complete first pass over here. When R9 is decremented, now after decrementing it will go to loop 1. This should be loop 1. Sorry. Yeah, I have over here. So return this loop to over here. So I will cancel this one over here. Now when it goes to second pass, the number of comparison also should be decreased. The number of comparisons are in R10. I write that one over here. Sub R10 comma R9. R9 will be having the number of passes, and subtract pass by 1 and store it in R10. That will be our number of comparison. And here this one is number of passes. So after this I will write the instruction compare R9 with 0. Means if the number of pass is not equal to 0, then we will loop back to loop 1. That I will write it as not equal to. And this continues. If you feel confusing about this code, you please write the comment in the comment section. Otherwise you can watch the video again. You will definitely understand this one. After this, our program ends over here. So I will write the infinite loop over here, which I have discussed in the previous videos. That is stop branch without condition to the flag stop again. This will go into infinite loop. Now we left with one more thing, that is declaration of array and assigning the values to the arrays. So I have declared the array as C value, and I have wrote it over here. DCD means assigning the memory location. This one I have discussed in the previous video. If you don't get this one, you can look at the previous video and come back to this video. So basically what happens here is I have given the array name and I have told to assign DCD memory location. We have different variations of this which I have already talked about in the previous video. So this will be the values in the array, that is 44113322. Now we should declare the read write base. So this will be our read write base. So we cannot do any modifications in this array. So we will take the copy of this in a read write base. So I will declare an array over here. At the array name D value, I have wrote DCD to assign the memory location, and all the array elements are initially having zeros in them. This ends our program. So I will write END. So this ends our program. So if you did not understand any part among this one, you can leave the comment in the comment section. If you want another explanation of any part of this code, you can also say that in the comment section. So I'm going to add this file into the source code. I'm going to delete this one. I'm going to change it as .s. So I have added this one. I'm going to save this one. You can see here there is a star, which means this file has not been saved. I will press Ctrl S, the star goes. Now I'm going to compile this. So we have two errors. Yeah, we forgot to write the n value, the number of elements. Here you can see the number of elements are 4 in the array. So we will replace n by 4 and n minus 1 by 3. Now we will compile it again. 0 errors and 0 warnings. I am going to start the debug session. So before coming to debug session, you should right click on target, go to first option, and here in linkers you should set the read write base. It may be any number. I have set it to 8000. So this is compulsory. If you don't do this, you will get an error. So after doing that one, I'm going to start the debug session. Here you can see the memory section. I have wrote 8000. Initially 8000 is having zeros in them. This is the read write base. So I'm going to start running the program line by line. I'll press F11 and keep seeing what happens. R8 has 4, R9 has 3, R10 has 3. Now R7 is having the C value. You can see this array, the C value array in memory section also. Just remove 8000 and write this one over here, that is 68. You can see that the 44112233 has been stored, which are our array elements 44112233, 44112233. Sorry, 44113322, 44113322. Yeah, I'm now going to change this one to 8000. This one over here to 8000. We were over here. Now I'm going to press F11 again, and R0 is having 8000. You can see that over here. Now I'm going to start the copy of C value array to D value array. F11. R1 is having the first element now. It has been stored in D value. You can see it over here. First it was 0. Now we can see 4 over here. Here the next elements comes when we will get back to the loop. R8 is subtracted. Go to the loop. Again R1 has 11. We got here 11. So similarly we will get 3, 33 and 22 after execution of all this. So we got here 22. I will again reset this R0 to D value, means it will point to 44 now. Now R0 has 8000. Now our logic starts. See this one pointing to the first instruction. R1 will take the first value, R2 will take the second value. Here you can see the 44 has been taken, 11 has been taken, and compare operation is done. And you can see 44 is greater than 11. So swap operation takes place and this part of code is executed. That's F11. Here in the memory section, observe closely, 44 is swapped with 11. 44 comes in second place, 11 comes in first place. Here R0 is pointing to first element. Now I make it point to the second element by doing add 4. Now it is pointing to second element. I decrement the count of comparisons by 1. And I also decrement the pass. And I will go back to the loop and do the same thing again. Here R0 is pointing to second element. Now second element is 44 is taken and 33 is taken and they are compared. 44 is greater, so it is swapped. You can see here closely. 33 comes here, 44 goes there. Again the number of comparison decreased, loop goes back. Though the last comparison takes place. After last comparison, R10 becomes 0. Number of comparisons has been 0. So it will not again loop back. It will start executing the next line code. So our R0 will be pointing to this 44 place. So I should readjust it so that it can point to the first element in the second pass. Here the first pass has been over and the greatest element has been occupied is the correct position. F11 and decrement the count. I will assign the count for the second pass, that is number of comparisons. I will assign the number of comparison for second pass, that is 2, and I will decrement the number of passes, and number of passes is not equal to 0, so I will branch this one. So I again came back to this loop inside for loop. So the same thing happens, comparison, swap. I will take through it directly. 33 is there, so 33 came over here and 22 over here. Again the count is decreased. So again this one is reassigned to first element. Number of pass, we have still one pass and one comparison to make. So comparison has been made. This ends our program. Now we have finally reached to the infinite loop. After pressing any number of F11, you will be here itself. So you can see over here, we got the sorted array of 11, 22, 33, 44 in the ascending order. So this was it. Let us now discuss about some conditional execution or conditional branching. So we have EQ, that is if equal to, which means Z is set to 1, and we have NE in which Z is set to 0, where the clear indicates the 0. We have used the LE over here, so you can see this is for signed. You can also use signed, and there are many. So we will slowly using these conditions in our program. You can read it once. So this was it for this video. See you in next video. Till then, take care. Bye.